I have always been a big fan of pickled vegetables. Anything from pickled jalapenos, banana peppers, cucumbers, just to name a few. When I started paying closer attention to the ingredients that are in the foods that I bought, I realized that many of these pickled items had natural flavors or colors, and I did not want to be purchasing them anymore, not to mention they're pretty expensive. Then I learned about the quick method of pickling, where you don't have to worry about canning. You basically just marinate your vegetables and throw them in the fridge, and they taste amazing. In this video, I'm sharing my favorite quick pickle method recipe, which are also called refrigerator pickles. The first step in this method is choosing what you'd like to pickle. Right now, I'm slicing up some Persian or mini cucumbers. They are my favorite type of cucumbers to pickle, that or pickling cucumbers, of course. It's not only the size that makes it better, but they're also going to stay more crisp. And the texture of a pickle is very important. So first I'm just slicing my cucumbers into pickle spears. You can do whatever shape you like, and I'm throwing it into a quart-sized jar. Today I'm also going to be pickling some carrots. For carrots and other root vegetables, you want to blanch them for about 5 minutes depending on the size of the vegetable, so that they're just a little bit more tender, easier to bite into, and also that's going to help them absorb the flavors in the brine. So bring some water to boil, throw those vegetables in, and blanch them for just about 5 minutes. Then quickly strain off that boiling water. A fork should go in a little bit more easily than when it's just raw. And I'm putting those sliced carrot spears into another quart-sized jar. You may not think pickled carrots will be delicious, but once they absorb that brine, they are so good. Again, it's important for the texture to be right, so definitely don't overcook them and make them mushy. The other thing that I'm pickling today are beets. If you've never had pickled beets, they are so good. I had some pre-cooked beets. You definitely want to cook them first. And then I'm adding them to some sliced raw onions. The combination of these two vegetables create a very unique and delicious flavor. The onions are going to turn a pretty pink color. I think the easiest way to add spices is just to throw them in the jars. I'm adding some bay leaves, some coriander, which is my favorite thing to add to pickles. Make sure they are whole coriander seeds. I'm also adding some mustard seeds, just throwing that in each jar, and I'm doing about a tablespoon each of coriander and mustard seeds. And I'm also adding some sumac, which is a very tart spice that you may find in different Middle Eastern dishes. I'm just doing a few shakes in each jar. And I'm adding a few whole black peppercorns to each jar as well, probably about 4 or 5 to each. I would love to hear in the comments below if there are any unique types of foods that you have tried pickled. I've seen some pretty interesting things pickled at different markets. I'd like to know what others have tried and if it tastes good. Now we're making the brine, which is an area that you can tweak a little bit. I have seen some recipes call for a 1:2 ratio, others call for a 1:1 ratio of water to vinegar, so I'm just doing slightly more water than vinegar at 3 1/4 cups of vinegar and 4 1/4 cups of filtered water. For a half gallon of the brine, I put 5 tablespoons of salt. I will link my favorite salt, which is microplastic free, in the description box below. Now I'm adding some garlic before we pour the brine in. I'm adding 1 clove to each quart. I'm just roughly chopping mine. You can also finely slice it, but you want kind of bigger chunks, and also you don't want to make them too big. You want the flavors to really get absorbed into the brine. I'm simply just throwing the garlic in each jar. Now I'm pouring in the brine to the very top. We don't have to worry about leaving much extra room, because this isn't going to be fermenting or anything like that, so you don't have to be worried about it like in a fermentation recipe. Once your brine is added, it's time to add some lids to these jars. Then we can throw them in the fridge. Once the lids are on, I also like to give it a quick shake to just make sure that all those spices are mixed up well into the brine with the vegetables. After this, we're going to put these jars into the refrigerator for about 3 days before enjoying so that all of the flavors are absorbed. For a detailed recipe, I will link a blog post in the description box below. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more natural, nourished, and traditional living content.